Firefighters say it's not unusual for a fire to begin as a result of lightning. Coming up, we'll take you to Taylor County and show you how one business owner is dealing with exactly that.
Britain is dealing with the fallout from its shocking decision to leave the European Union. I'm Kitty Logan in London. More on this story coming up.
Police say 3 men have been behind many guitar thefts across Lexington. We have crystal clear surveillance of those individuals in this music store.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Good afternoon to you. A southern Kentucky business destroyed. Firefighters believe lightning is to blame for a fire that damaged a business that's been around for decades in Taylor County.
It took crews hours to put out that fire at H&W Sports Shop in downtown Campbellsville. Mike Linden talked to the owner about what's next for the business in our top story at 5.
I have not ever experienced anything like this.
Ronnie Horde has owned the H&W Sports Shop in downtown Campbellsville since 1969. Around 8:15 Thursday night, the business was struck by lightning, almost immediately starting a fire.
You got cloth, you got shoulder pads, all that's very burnable. And, so it was something that was, once it was inside, it was hard to contain.
Firefighters say it didn't take long for the fire to fully engulf the second floor of the sporting goods store. They say it began in the rear of the building on the back corner, and you can actually see where the building is splitting apart because the fire was so hot.
It was a matter of 30 seconds after the glow and all that went away from the lightning strike. There was already smoke coming from the roof line.
With football season coming soon, Horde says people who have placed orders have already reached out to him.
That means a lot. Being in business that long, that you've got a lot of loyalty out there that people try to understand in a situation like this, that you're going to do the best you can do.
While the building is a total loss, Horde says it's back to business as soon as possible.
If there's a way, we're going to do it. And that's what we've built our business on over the years, is service.
In Taylor County, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Firefighters say just before the shop caught fire, they were called to a lightning strike right around the corner on Main Street. They tell us that's why they were able to get to the scene so quickly.
The death toll from yesterday's storms in West Virginia continues to climb. Tonight, the governor there has announced 18 people have died in flooding. Among them, an 8-year-old boy who died when strong currents swept him away in a creek in Wheeling. Search crews expect the death toll to rise. Up to 10 inches of rain fell in West Virginia Thursday, tearing up roads, destroying homes, and knocking out power.
Unfortunately, we've dealt with weather emergencies all too often in the past several years, so we were prepared to act quickly. It's been a long 24 hours, and the next 24 hours may not be much easier.
44 of West Virginia's 55 counties are under a state of emergency. The flooding hit the Greenbrier Resort in White Sulphur Springs hard, flooding out the golf course there. That course at Greenbrier is scheduled to host a PGA golf tournament in just 2 weeks. It's unclear right now whether that course will be repaired in time. Well, thousands of people in eastern Kentucky are still without power this afternoon after Thursday's storms. According to Kentucky Power, about 8 counties have hundreds of customers without power, but the major outages are in Floyd, Knott, Lawrence, Martin, and Pike counties. They hope to have all power restored by late tomorrow night.
We are getting a much-needed break from the storms.
But we are not getting much relief in terms of the heat and humidity. Temperatures for our weekend, though. Meteorologist Jim Caldwell has an early look at your forecast.
Yeah, they're going to be kind of off the charts for some of us. They're going to be a little on the extreme side. Some of that heat and humidity coming at us on Saturday and especially into Sunday. Right now, though, we're talking about some of those showers and storms that were showing up to our east, and of course, what we had last night. All remnants of that falling apart across Kentucky now. It's quiet. Finally, a good, solid, quiet day on our Defender radar network. A little hint of precipitation. I'm talking very small showers. In order for me to track anything, I've got to go small here, up close and personal, close to the Flat Gap area there in Johnson County. So that rain continues to fizzle out as we expected. Right now, we're at 85 in Lexington with a little more low 80-degree action showing up across eastern Kentucky. And you're going to find more of that, like Danville coming in at 82 degrees out there as well. As we look into the weekend, the muggy factor will be, again, off the charts as we get into Sunday and into your Monday. So even starting the new work week here, a lot of humidity coming at us and more in the way of heat. We could have heat index values around 100 in some cases Sunday. We'll take a closer look at that coming up in just a few minutes.
Some serious heat, Jim. Thank you. People in the United Kingdom and around the world may be talking about this day for a long time.
Late last night, voters in the UK decided to end their 43-year partnership with the European Union. CBS's Kitty Logan is tracking the effects from this historic move.
Great Britain's stunning decision to leave the European Union surprised millions and forced one of the world's most powerful leaders out of office.
The British people have made a very clear decision to take a different path. And as such, I think the country requires fresh leadership.
Prime Minister David Cameron had staked his reputation on keeping Britain in the EU. Now he plans to leave by October. President Obama spoke with Cameron today and agreed that economic and financial teams will remain in close contact to ensure growth and financial stability.
One thing that will not change is the special relationship that exists between our two nations. That will endure.
Voters who wanted Britain out of the EU believe their leaders will now have more control over immigration, trade and other economic issues.
There is simply no need in the 21st century to be part of a federal system of government based in Brussels that is imitated nowhere else on earth.
But word of the vote sent global financial markets plunging. The British pound fell to its weakest level against the dollar in 30 years.
Et je le regrette profondément.
French President François Hollande said the decision to leave was a painful choice. German Chancellor Angela Merkel called the result a blow to Europe. It could take 2 years or more for Britain to fully separate from the European Union. Kitty Logan, CBS News, London.
Most people in Scotland voted to stay in the European Union, and there is talk today that residents there may attempt to secede from the UK. Britain's vote to leave the European Union surprised investors and sparked a sell-off around the world. Here in the U.S., the stock market took a hit this morning after the opening bell. The Dow dropped 500 points within minutes. We will continue to track the reaction on the air and online at WKYT.com.
Lexington police are searching for 3 men wanted for a string of guitar thefts. They say Jeremiah Hager, Jerison Banks, and a third person stole 9 electric guitars from 4 music stores. New at 5, Kristen Kennedy talked to one of the victims at Willcut Guitar Shop.
The owner of this music store says those thieves came in Saturday afternoon. They started asking about guitars and they started playing one.
Watch as 2 of the 3 men police are searching for walk into Willcut and start playing a guitar.
Every day the people come in and try stuff.
Bob Willcut says seeing people play in his store isn't uncommon.
They don't want to be hovered over, you know, these people, so you usually show them something, hook it up, answer the immediate questions, and just let them play for a while.
This is what he's not used to seeing on surveillance. People running out of the back with merchandise.
It's pretty much whatever people can get their hands on and get a high dollar amount for, typically for drug money.
Detective Jay Strong says Willcut is one of 4 stores the men, Jeremiah Hager, Jerison Banks, and one other, hit. He says they took 9 guitars total. They've recovered 6.
Who knows what they'll go through at this point once they're, you know, they know that they can't go back to these music stores. They'll most likely continue to commit felony thefts.
Lexington police do believe that a third man has been helping the 2 they are looking for. They do not have his name, but they are hoping that surveillance video helps them find him. In Lexington, Kristen Kennedy, WKYT.
Willcut says one of their guitars is still missing. It is a white and gold Gretsch Electromatic valued at nearly $3,000.
A hearing for a man charged in connection to a murder of a University of Kentucky student has been rescheduled. Today, the prosecution and defense asked to set a new date for a hearing for Roman Gonzalez. He, Efren Diaz, and Justin Smith are charged with murder and robbery in the death of 22-year-old Jonathan Kruger. Gonzalez will be back in court on August 23rd. The trial for all 3 men is expected to start in March of 2017.
New tonight, we now know University of Kentucky basketball player Derek Willis's punishment for his alcohol intoxication case. According to a Louisville TV station, the 21-year-old will have to do community service or some other court-ordered program. When he's done with that, he can get the charge dismissed and erased from his record. Police in Boone County say earlier this month, Willis was found passed out while lying in the street next to an open driver's side door.
New tonight, funeral arrangements for the son of a Hall of Fame UK coach have been set. 75-year-old Adolph Rupp Jr. or Herky passed away Wednesday in Lexington. His son says Herky has been dealing with a treatable form of cancer for the last 8 or 9 years. Herky played at UK for 3 seasons from 1959 to 1962. Visitation will be Wednesday from 4 to 7 p.m. at Millward Broadway. The funeral will be Thursday at 11 a.m. Herky will be buried at Lexington Cemetery.
Still ahead here on WKYT News at 5, a first for the gay rights movement. Why the president is making Stonewall the national monument for LGBT rights.
And later in Better Living, a Fitbit for babies. But this one doesn't just monitor steps, how this device will help parents track their little ones.
Now, your hour-by-hour forecast with meteorologist Jim Caldwell.
We have been tracking a better day out there, believe it or not. We had rounds of showers and thunderstorms for several days in a row. You had a chance each day, and now we're taking a little break. We didn't get a full-on break, though, from the heat and humidity. It's still pretty warm out there with temperatures in the mid-80s. But compared to where we're going, this is nice. 85 right now in Lexington, 84 down the road into Richmond. Our friends in eastern Kentucky into the low 80s. They're actually thinking, hey, it's really nice down here. What are y'all talking about in Lexington? It's nice here in the mountains with those low 80s. Factor in the humidity, though, and it feels just a little bit worse. Takes you up a degree, maybe, or 1 to 3 degrees warmer with heat index factored in. Now, over the weekend, we are going to change that up. It's going to feel a lot worse, probably about 5 degrees warmer than the actual air temperature in many locations. So that's what we have right now. Just look at our hour-by-hour heat index. We go into Saturday because that's when the peak starts to show up. We're in the low 90s. This is the beginning of it. See this heat core out here where you're seeing more of those mid and even close to the upper 90s for heat index? That will start to slip into our area. Well, it will certainly not go unnoticed, though. We are going to get it right in here into Sunday afternoon, Sunday evening. That's when we push close to the century mark, and some of us might even hit it as far as the heat index. Again, actual air temperatures probably show up in the mid-80s or mid-90s, and the heat index shoots all the way close to 100, and you're seeing several values at that. So heat index off the charts as we go rolling into your Sunday, probably again on Monday. But what might relieve some of you will be the fact that we run into showers and thunderstorms on Sunday as well. So that's going to combat with some of that heat trying to get completely in control out there. A few showers and thunderstorms been showing up, one completely dying out now. That's it. That's the last little bit of rain passing through Flat Gap there in Johnson County. Here's what we have with the hour-by-hour look on the surface. Warm front, that's going to be the culprit that pushes that big amount of moisture into the atmosphere here going into your Sunday. Isolated chance of a shower or storm on Saturday. Better chances once we get into Sunday. There you see a little more organization showing up with those showers and storms and more heat and humidity coming our way. Here's our 7-day forecast as we look ahead. Got the rain chances around here on Sunday with the heat as well. So 3 days there, I think, feel very comfortable that we will get into the low 90s before we get back in that pattern, guys, where it's a daily chance of showers and storms. And that's what we have next week.
It's one of those weekends to really take it easy, too. If you're going to be outside, just kind of watch, because this is kind of going to be right on us.
That's right. It can get you in a hurry when you're talking about heat index values closer to 100.
Sure.
Yeah.
Jim, thanks.
Live look at Lexington rush hour traffic. A couple of things. A crash at Richmond Road and Water Company Drive. The police are working. The right outbound lane is blocked there. Also one on Paris and Blue Ribbon. Now, in Georgetown, there's a collision on Cherry Blossom near the Toyota plant. And it's making it difficult for second shift workers to get into the plant because of this collision. That's on Cherry Blossom Way near the Toyota plant, injury collision. It's not affecting your drive into Scott County as far as drive times are concerned. Into Nicholasville, we're still dealing with about 15 minutes. Now back to you in the studio.
Thanks, Don. Lexington's newest outdoor summertime concert series is back tonight. Lakeside Live runs Friday and Saturday nights through August over at Lexington Green.
The concert series kicked off last weekend. It starts tonight at 6 with the group Them Hamilton Boys.
Still to come on WKYT News at 5, a mega jackpot for Mega Millions. We'll break down just how big tonight's jackpot compares to the past.
And coming up on WKYT News at 5:30, it's been 2 years since 78-year-old twins were arrested for sex abuse. One has been sentenced, while the other one's case is still open.
President Obama has designated the country's first national monument to LGBT rights.
The president announced today the new Stonewall National Monument will be the area around the Stonewall Inn in New York City. A police raid on the Stonewall Inn in 1969 made history when patrons fought back, launching a weeks-long protest and the modern LGBT movement. According to the White House, the monument will include Christopher Park, the Stonewall Inn, and the surrounding streets and sidewalks. The Stonewall National Monument will also be added to America's national park system. The president's announcement comes nearly 2 weeks after the devastating attack at an Orlando nightclub. Tomorrow, all 49 shooting victims will be honored at Lexington's Pride Festival. The festival starts at 7 a.m. in downtown Lexington tomorrow, and there will be a moment of reflection for the victims at 2 Saturday afternoon in the Courthouse Plaza. We'll talk to the festival organizer about security for the event coming up on WKYT News at 6.
Move Over Powerball Mega Millions is the lottery game to play this weekend. At $363 million, tonight's Mega Millions jackpot has hit a nearly 2-year high. Sabira Rayford takes a look at just how big this jackpot is.
It's the 6th largest Mega Millions jackpot in history. And today here at the Dairy Mart on Reynolds Road, it's all people could talk about.
Well, when it gets this big, somebody's got to win, and you can't win if you don't buy a ticket.
Well, it used to be $1 million was a big deal. Now it takes 200, 300 million to make people happy.
For 41 years, Eddie White says he's watched the jackpots get bigger and bigger.
I don't know why, because I'd take $1 million anytime.
But $1 million jackpots are a thing of the past. This time, the jackpot has hit a record-breaking $363 million.
It's like going to a bingo parlor or something. No, our customers don't go overboard on it. They just play it for entertainment.
I play one slot with numbers that I play all the time, and then I get a few quick picks along with it.
White says what makes his store one of the top retailers in Kentucky is their dedication to customer service.
If you look at our front window, we've sold a lot of big winners.
The largest jackpot sold here was $1 million. In Lexington, Sabira Rayford, WKYT.
And the next drawing for the big jackpot will be tonight. We'll have the results on WKYT News at 11. Coming up on WKYT News at 5:30, they know how to come together in the time of need. We'll show you how the city of Richmond is helping the family of a teenager battling cancer.
Is it a bookstore or a brewery? And a Fitbit made just for babies. Those stories next in Better Living. It is time now for Better Living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Raising children is no easy task, and where you live can play an important role in a young person's life. A recent study took a look at which states provide the best quality of life for children and which need improvement. Jennifer Whalen takes a look at the results.
Is Minnesota the most child-friendly U.S. state? A new report says, you betcha. For the second year in a row, the Annie E. Casey Foundation puts it atop its list of best states to raise a family. The rest of the study's top 5? Massachusetts, Iowa, New Hampshire, and Connecticut. In reaching its conclusions, the foundation looked at the following categories: economic and health conditions, education, and quality of communities. Meanwhile, the report found poorer, mostly southern states to be among the least child-friendly. Here's the bottom 5: Alabama, Nevada, Louisiana, New Mexico, and at number 50, Mississippi. According to the study, New Mexico had the highest rate of children living in poverty at 30%. That figure is just 15% in Minnesota. Finally, the report found nationally 6% of children lacked health insurance in 2014. That's a 10% improvement from 2008. For today's Health Minute, I'm Jennifer Whalen.
So new technology is helping parents keep up with their children without them needing to hover around them all day long. It's called a baby bit. It's just like a Fitbit for adults, only smaller. The wearable 1.5-inch plastic square clips directly onto a baby's clothing to monitor much more than just steps. It can be a temperature sensor that can tell you if your baby is too hot or too cold, or if your baby has been crying too long. All of the data is sent directly to an app on your smartphone or watch.
It's really a peace of mind, because you can think if you're going through the day and you're like, I wonder how my baby's doing. You could just look at the phone real quickly. You could say, oh, he's been asleep for the last 2 hours. Okay, he's fine. He got a good nap.
Co-founder Joe Bennett says the device isn't meant for children over 2 and does not pose a choking hazard. Barnes & Noble is trying to bring in more customers with e-books in the palm of just about everyone's hands. It's a tall order. Their solution? Alcohol. Barnes & Noble is piloting serving beer and wine in 4 new stores. They'll also be adding full breakfast, lunch, and dinner menus to some stores. The first store opens in Eastchester, New York in the fall, and the 3 others in the U.S. by Christmas.